welcome to Tapestry with Miriam on Fusing with my channel. And today is a special day as well. We have our special guest here, Mr. Havanna Green, who is a business owner, health activist, historian, and a community activist. And he has many more. He's going to tell us more about what he does. We will be talking to him about the importance of ownership in the Black community here in Edmonton. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
I haven't seen you in a long time, and thank you for coming.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Thank you. And whatever else that we can do to increase the process, that's what we're here for.
Yes.
So go ahead. Let's keep rolling and do our best.
Yes, yes. Tell us more about, how the first time you created or got inspired to be engaged in the community, because I know I've seen you doing a lot of community events. How did you get so inspired to work in the community?
Like, when it came to the communities, it's been going on since I was small. And as a young man coming up, I was a bad at. Could I swear? Could I say ass?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I was a wild child.
Yes.
Right, and I've always looked to my own creation, and we wanted to do stuff our way for the city. The city didn't have the representation that we wanted it to have, but at the same time, being a wild kid, and you end up in places you shouldn't be, for instance, right? And so I would always be I got in trouble, and this is when I was young, and I would get sent to go do stuff at the church. My probation was go to church and you gotta janitor and work with the guys. And so the fellow that I worked with was one of my auntie's husband. And so he would just you kids, but I was okay, cool. But what can I do to help? Right. And so from there on, I would always be okay, now how can we help not myself, but how can I help my friends? And so bit by bit, it led to we wanted to play basketball. And the rule for the city is underneath the bylaw, basketballs, all parks are closed at 10:30, right? And you have 20 kids, have nothing to do, summertime. And I've always think why are we getting kicked out of a park? We're playing basketball. It's best we're doing this than causing chaos elsewhere, right? So that became part of it. It took us, for instance, 15 years to get Edmonton and to actually paint the basketball court and set it up correctly, rims and everything else in my community. So we had to learn the ropes and all that, right?
Yeah.
But politics is a big thing within it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, more so little things, more getting the group together, we're gonna have a barbecue, what's going on with you and all that stuff. And my family, again, is one of the bigger family in the city. So we get to utilize certain things, but at the same time, for me, the idea was, how do we help build with each other? And I recognize it from young because my aunties, my uncle, my mom and all them, they would always tell us it's on us to build our community. We can't wait for somebody else to come and do it. So it's on us to do it. But my auntie, Joy, she would compete with my uncles. They own a business. She go and get so it was always beautiful, and she'd always take us along to show us this is what's need to be done. Don't be shy, whether it's her nephews or her nieces. So that helped to ooze in me as a young child, and I grew into it as I came forward.
It's good that you're talking about your auntie and your uncles, but we've seen over the years actually women and young women are very much engaged into starting their own businesses and you see salons coming up, you see photographers coming up, we see eyelashes especially coming up, and you see all these women, affiliated kind of businesses coming up, and you're talking about anchors. We see a decline in men, starting businesses and stuff. What do you think should be happening right now? Is there some kind of empowerment that should be happening to the
Based
men
on
as
man
well?
or on woman, right? Because I think it's a bridge in between, right? Especially for the black community, right? So you have the bridge, meaning the sisters go out and they look at what helps them to captivate. But a lot of time it's like, a man can build, say, a city, but the woman build a nation, right? At the end of the day, but at the end of the day, both need to build with each other and utilize that factor. So, but you also have a decline in the concept of man, meaning that there's a strong push into feminizing man, feminizing black man, understanding the role of what a black man play. For instance, like my son, out the gate, I've taught my son what a man is, what needs to be done. Like you're not going to go lay down with any woman, get her pregnant and run off on the child, for instance, right? We're not living to a stereotype. What you're going to do is get up, find something you love, put into it, but at the same time, respect what? Self, community, right? And nation. Because without these things, you cannot. So self, family, nation goes a long way, right? And from the root, from the seed, you have to plant these things. Now you have a lot of new business coming in. A lot of men also are fearful to speak what they're doing because they believe that they're going to get sabotage, right? So that's the other thing, because again, the system that we live into the Western complex is about, how can I put it? It's about having you begging for them for something. And it goes back to building amongst us and building for us, right? And it goes into a stronger content. But again, it is by grand design. It's nothing new. It was going on when my great-grandfather was here, right? And it's learning how to stand the ground and just say, okay, what's needed, right? But at the same time, we need women to build as they build forward, right? Because they can get it also into different places that a lot of men, like me going to a store, for instance, you can be in the same store. They're going to look at me automatically as, what is he trying to do? I'm intimidated in that sense, right?
So you're saying that some of those kind of deficiencies that we have in our community and against the community, I suppose, will deter men not to go for such
forward
things
and
and
build out
even work.
exactly, right? Because it's a lack in behavior for them, right? But again, if you teach them from a young stage how to go and get it, they will take the time and go and get it, right? Because again, the great Dr. Francis Walton teaches about behavioral complexity, right? And what it is. A lot of time, guys go under pressure, they say, oh man, I'm done with this. Now me, the term I'm looking for is I love business and I love being an entrepreneur. I love coming with it. I love finding different solution to things.
You're a go-getter.
And that's the one thing. But I've been doing it for so long that I live for it.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, one man alone can't build a nation. You need to build others in it to come forward with you, right?
Yes.
And so I've come from that line of how do we now help put that back into our soil to get the things come forward.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so I would say for all the ladies globally that wants to get in business, get in business. It is sweet, but it's also hard.
It is hard.
Right? And to all the men, like you mean, like they have to take heed in understanding what it is, whether they gotta support their ladies or whether they meaning like provide in the sense that like, okay, I need to go pick this up and like, you know what I mean, like be a foot soldier if you have to. Right? But also to the males that want to create something better for them, their family, and whatever, also get in business. Also understand that patient is key, and patient will bring you to a level of greatness, or what the Asian would say, chi, right? And so it changes the dynamic when you can basically look at your taxations and say, okay, cool, because business make the world go round. Right? The people that runs business and pay certain, like the construct of taxes and bill things out, they're treated differently because they have a stronger value, right? And this is what we're in. Like the Western world is a capitalistic system, right? With certain other rules involved in it, but we have to understand this is what comes with it. And Alberta is the place to be in Canada. It don't matter how cold it get in winter, if you prepare for winter, you'll be okay, right? But we are the place when it comes to taxation. Everywhere else is getting high and high, but our tax is still holding where it was promised 1972.
You've said everything actually about empowering people and really having to see the importance of business. But my question is, what is the importance of ownership? That's the ownership.
Ownership is key.
Yes.
Ownership is life, right? And I'll tell you, when you own something, you can pass it to your kids, right? When you own something, you can bill out where you want to go with it and all that. When you own something, it's the greatest joy, meaning that, like, they would say sexual, a man and a woman, the climax is the best. It is not. What the greatest climax one can have is to see their vision come into full, like, understanding, right? That is ownership. Ownership is saying, well, I have control over what and where. And when you own it and you establish where you want to go with it, you don't have to answer to anybody but yourself. And if you have your team, and like obviously the tax man, right? But having the construct of ownership puts you in a whole different plateau, right? And the importance of it is, again, having control over your destination where you want to take your life.
Yes. And do you think, while you're at ownership as well, don't you think that ownership also brings about employment within the community?
It definitely does. It definitely does. And so this is what I mean about the destination. Like, you can decide who you want to work with, who you want to bring in, who you want to build with, and who you want to also extend that out with.
Yes, on that point as well, because you are now creating employment, and you're creating employment for the community and outside community and whoever wants to, right? So on that point of employment, what have you learned of being an employee versus employer? What are some of the things that you can, because people go to school and people want to work to earn that experience. And maybe if they are passionate about something they like, they can branch off and start doing some business. But in your own capacity as a business owner.
What about, I've learned as a man that employ folk that I got to keep on working.
Yeah.
I've also learned that you have to be selective of whom you're employing, right? If you get somebody that you're like, okay, I'm just going to get you because I like your face, but then that person get no work done, it only pulls the business back down. So now you're working twice as hard to get that up because you now have this person carrying on you, right? You also, if you have like the music business that, like I own a studio, I own a recording label, all that stuff. That's one of the hardest structure as an owner because you also have artists that you have to dictate where you want to go with it. So a lot of time, great artists, you have to cut them loose because they don't have the construct of responsibility to self to achieve what you see in them, right? And so that becomes another thing. So having like to become an employee and employing these things is stressful if you don't have full control over where your gears are, because some people, they'll just employ and say, oh, whatever, man, and thinking it's going as planned. And when they come back, it's completely destructive, right? Again, the music industry is very vivid in that sense because you also have a lot of people that they try to fake the funk, meaning like especially rap. You have a lot of guys that's they're not from the struggle, they're not that, but they will try everything to rhyme the most ridiculous things about it, right? And their behavior becomes very, very destructive and not creative and uplifting. So you have to limit that in whom you bring into your piece and your castle, because again, the business is the peace of mind, peace of self, peace of community, and what more you can reach to it. So when you employ folks in it, you have to make sure that you scan them and thoroughly look at what they do.
Yeah, and I've seen you, thank you so much for that. I've seen you do a lot of things, music, I've seen you hold some of the important business events. I've attended some and I've facilitated.
Yes, you have, and thank you very much.
Yes. You do all these things. How do you, and also you are a farmer, I think. I've seen that you like farming as well. How do you navigate through all these things and really coming on top of it?
Like, I mean, like the music side is easy because I've been in the music for over 35 years. Right? And farming, it's always been a part of my life. But this is why we created that health and wealth, because like we're taught when we're young, you can't trust the system because the system is not designed for you. Meaning that like, hey, it never once has it done me a favor, right? So you have to feed yourself. You have to know how to grow just in case the world should, light should go off and the world should be what it is. You can provide for not just self, but for family.
Yes.
Also, when you can grow some stuff, inflation don't bug you because you don't have to go to the store to get it. You just go to your backyard or you go to the farm.
And you're putting things in your body that are really good.
There you go, right? Yeah. And that's where now the health comes in, right? Due to the fact that I've always been one with like the earth itself, because one thing that people, I always tell people, I said, my grandfather, my mother's dad, his side of the family come from a line of black Indians. Now, people don't know that we exist, right? Just the same as the Aborigines of Australia, the black Indians of North America, Central America, and the islands exist. And we exist long before Columbus visited and say, hey, I'm here. Right? So we continue the tradition, and the tradition taught us, hey, be wise to nature and respect what nature does for us.
Very profound.
And so we have always been a part of building and making sure that our folks who want to believe and follow we will teach them, right? But others that don't want to, sometimes they have to go through the hardship. I know friends that's going through hospitalization and all that, and they're looking at us, and I'm laughing because I'm like, we're here when you're ready, right? But it takes people time to get to it. So that's with the farming, and that's with what we put in a consumption. But now, while we also started the Black Family Business Conference, was everybody already had theirs. My Asian friends, my East Indian friends, my Arab friend, they all have their community and things that they do to strengthen their community.
Yeah.
And the European folks as well. We don't have the full understanding of finance. Finance run the globe. Finance run the world. So the objective of the Black Family Business Conference is we need to build up our people first and then get everyone all together in it and see where the collaboration and things can go. But if I'm coming to, say, for instance, a mechanic, and I'm like, hey, man, I need this car being fixed, right? And I don't know, like the mechanic is telling me, hey, this, and this, and I don't understand it. How can I be on the same page with them, right? So before we get on the same page, I need to increase my value in knowledge. So when I sit with you, I can have a back and forth proper conversation with you and seeing how we can build out. And then I know you can't rip me off and I'm not going to rip you off, right? But knowledge is key. And that's where the Black Family Business Conference came in play.
Yeah, that's very important when you talk about Black literacy, finance literacy that I actually attended. What are some of the things that are very hard for you to, I know you've navigated through people, you invite, your friends to come and stuff, but sometimes it's very difficult. We have these challenges within the Black community for people to actually be receptive to some of the things, especially finance literacy is something that is very difficult.
It's a very, because not everybody wants to be open to speak about their financial situation. A guy want to go to a bar and spend a whole lot of money and act like he's the biggest ball in the world. That's his fantasy. That's his thing, right? The wealth carrier, you don't see them out doing that, right? They're figuring a way how to make the money speak for them, how to make their behavior work for them, right? So the less-minded, it's like we have to take, we have to take the child and grow him up correctly. Like yesterday, I had a meeting with one of my partners, and he's telling me, he's like, my son is turning 15, like he was doing this, and he's telling me just instead of just putting it in his account, he wants the cash. And then he's like, he's there taking pictures, trying to, and then he lost the money, right? And it goes like that to a lot of adults. A lot of adults have not grown up in the full understanding of what financial care is and what being wise with money is. But I'm talking about the adults that's on the bottom of the system, based on the fact that it's easy to say, look at me, I can floss, I can have this and I can that. There's a lot of guys that drive great cars, but have nowhere to sleep, right? So they sponge, as what they would say, off woman. You know what I mean? And the construct of that is it's an ugly thing. Why? Because there's no self-control in the financial structure. So here we come now. We've come because, meaning that me and my guys, like we've seen all kind of things in that sense, but we have also came with the knowledge that we have obtained from others, but obtained from knowledge that we studied on, right? And how we can basically help to weaponize it for good instead of bad, right? And that's where the hardship come, but also now bringing in these people, a lot of time they want to see entertainment. They want to see, meaning like certain desires, certain things to get them there. But the beauty about it is the generation is changing. And just the same as how you have people getting wise to what need to be done, because as taxes go up and things go up, people are trying to figure out how can I stretch my money or how can I get more? So you have people looking for these open fields to come in and now start collaborating with each other. But the biggest thing overall is trust. Like if I didn't trust you, I wouldn't be here on time and I wouldn't come onto the show because I trust you. I trust the fact that you are a professional. I trust the fact that you know what you're doing. And it's vice versa. Trust is the biggest key factor. And that's where implementation in that, that trust that we know what we're doing, trust that we know how to step forward goes a long way.
And I think in our community as well, what we need is to have a different mindset. I heard when we were talking about a child who's 15 and then they are spending and they don't want to they want to spend the money and
Yeah.
take pictures, but that's how it starts, like that. And probably a child does not, you cannot teach a child at 15 years. You have to start teaching that child maybe way back. You said that you told me you told me that your mom was taking you to places when you were 3 years old.
Yeah.
And that's how come you got the passion to work in the community. That has grown with you. And that's very important. Even with finances as well. We need to start teaching our kids.
Younger and younger and younger.
Yes.
One of the best things I did, sorry for cutting you off, was, and I told my friend, I told him, I said, like 15 is still young, but you have to show him now that he's at a glamorized place, you have to take him places and let him realize the adjustment that he got to make, right? Overlap him. When my son was young, we have this thing here, Heritage Days. So I took him and I spent some money, I bought these tickets, and I said, each ticket, this is how much it costs. I gave him a ticket and I said, if you can spend this much and save that much, you know what I mean? You'll get such and such later on. And I just say, let him loose, right? He followed what he wanted to do, but he also understand that something come along with saving and planning. And so when he returned back with it, they were staying safe. So you teach them in different angle and all that stuff, right? Like it's just like, and bit by bit, because the goal is if we learn now, it goes a much longer way in the future, right? Don't get me wrong. The system have never been able to tell us, hey, this is for us, and that no sorry, right? You ask how many billionaires are there that are of black essence? Not as much, but we are the elephant in the room, right? We're the elephant in the construct that my friend just got back from Senegal and he came looking for me because he needed my help. And he's like, I needed to come over there. And, because he's building out businesses over there. And I let him know, I said, well, that's a part of what we're calling the elephant riders. And I don't know if you know the great story of Hannibal the general. Hannibal, the greatest general of all time, is a black general from North Africa. And Hannibal took his elephant and his man over the Alps and went in the backyard of Rome and sacked Rome. The concept, what they call flanking, I'm going to flank that person that side. It's like Hannibal created that, right? And till this day, right, he defeated Rome in Rome's own house. That's why Rome fell. That's part of the shockwave that made Rome fall, right? But what also came from that was the idea is if we are the biggest population on planet Earth, most people don't understand that. We are the biggest population globally on planet Earth, and for us, the mother continent is key. She is the elephant. And us in the West that have grown up and understand the business, understood the concept that we are the rider of that. And so long as we can work as a unit. And so when my friend came back looking for me, because you understand, hey, you have the wisdom that I need to build what I need to build to help my people, it goes a long way. But we have to also take that and utilize it, bill out as well over on this side as well, together, right? Why? Because everybody else is running to take the natural resources as much as they can, right? So we have to be wise to the game that's being played. Pardon my language.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know we are running out of time. I had so many things to actually ask you and just,
Ask away, man.
I always have this, we always have interesting conversations together, even offline. Just quickly, I just want you to tell the viewers about, where they can find you, your businesses, just, just line them up and where they can find you.
HealthAndWealthEssentials.com. And like that's for healthandwealthessential.com. And Tough House Studio, TUFFHOUSC,
Yeah.
like Tough House Records. You know, anywhere we are Alberta biggest and longest running label.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, like we're wherever, but I like to build business and spend time on building out the business.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Instagram, Tough Urban, Instagram, you all like healthandwealthessential.com.
Yes.
And Tough House, just the same as though I spelt it. So we're all over the map.
Yeah.
But the main thing at this moment, like I mean, like health and wealth, based on the fact
Yeah.
that the wealth side is financial, health side is what you put in your system, how we can help you, all organic like feeds to build your body up.
Yes.
Because anything that the medical system show you on one side, there's an organic answer to it. For those that believe in the biblical words, all the lessons of health are in these scriptures.
Yes, they're in the
And,
Bible.
You know, it's a beautiful thing,
Yes.
right? Also, the Nation of Islam have a book called How to Eat to Live, like, and it shows you what consumption of food, because people don't know that the biggest killer on earth is food.
It is food.
Right? Not knowing what to eat and also overeating.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to be conscious of that. But these are some of the places.
Okay. You've heard him. Our great brother here, Havanna Green. We always have very good conversation, and I'm so happy that you came. Thank you so much for coming once again.
Oh, yes.
And,
thank you for having me here.
Yeah, and to Tapestry with Miriam, Fusing with my. This is a great day. This is a great evening for us to have received such a insightful information from Mr. Havanna Green here. Thank you to the tech guys here. Hussein, thank you for being here as well. And thank you for being our viewers tonight.
Thank you so much.